Hi Aries, happy birthday, welcome to your season, welcome to the first astrological sign of the new year. And this is very, very, very important, Aries, because it is the first season in 7 years that we do not have Uranus, the most rebellious and sometimes erratic planet, in your sign, causing aspects to your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising, etc. We have a new moon in your sign on the 5th of the month, which is actually squaring Saturn in your career zone. So while this brings about it a very fresh new moon, the perfect new moon to begin something, the perfect new moon for a new start, you come with it both with confidence and perspective, but you also have a willingness to work on something. As your sign can sometimes be very quick, you can dive into something and dive out of it right as quickly. You can change your mind with incredible speed to the point that people around you wonder what happened. The beautiful thing about this square to Saturn, particularly as it's in Capricorn, is that you're willing to do the work rather than leave things unfinished, because there are no signs that will leave a job undone quicker than your sign, or have a job done incredibly quickly without the quality. And that's not me getting at you, but sometimes there's that tendency. It depends on other aspects, of course, but this Saturn aspect means you're going to be very, very determined, and your determined nature will overcome your impatience. It is a time to make sure that what you try to manifest in this new moon, because the new moon energy is always so very potent for manifesting and it happens very quickly, make sure that you do want what you're going after, because with the 2 full moons, and the second being a blue moon in your partnership sector in Libra, if you're trying to manifest a romance, bear in mind the other person's feelings do count. That can sometimes be mislaid with the Aries personality. The other person does count too. So if you go into it all guns blazing and then change your mind, there could be great hurt surrounding that. Or if you decide to make a decision for a union that you're in without consulting, it again could cause some friction. But it's not a negative thing. It's more just about being willing to see the other person's perspective and their feelings as though they matter, because that is why Libra is your opposite sign, because it's the partnership and you're the independent, you're the person, you're the one unit, and Libra is the 2. Now Mercury enters your sign on the 17th, Venus enters on the 20th. You're going to want to speak first and think later, as you usually do, but this will be more prevalent in other people as well. With Mercury entering your sign, the way that we all communicate, it will depend on your housing placements, but the way that we all communicate may be a little bit more blunt, a little bit more brash. Speak only what you want into existence, because with Mercury direct, having done a very long stint in Pisces, a lot of it retrograde, with Mercury direct in your sign, what you speak into existence, particularly after the energy of the new moon, may come very quickly. There is this certainty that you need for what you want in this world. With Venus entering your sign on the 20th, where it will remain for about a month, sparks are going to fly. There'll be new opportunities for love. You may be impulsive, as I say. So do think about the other person before you dive right in, because that full moon in your partnership sector coming again on the 19th, where you've been selfish, there will be problems arise. But you may also decide to make things official, have conversations about it, and there's an urge to empathize with the romantic partner of your choosing. Okay, Aries? So if you're completely single, it's a beautiful ground for romance to come in, for something to sprout, and it may happen quite unexpectedly. But there will be challenges from partners this month in terms of letting you know, quite frankly, that not everything is all about you. Now we do have Mars in your 3rd house, so the directness from Mercury retrograding in Pisces and then going direct and moving into your sign, you're going to speak very quickly, very clearly, and you may come across as a little bit more aggressive than usual, and some conversations call for that, some don't. With Mars, it's very hard to combine the thought with the action. But don't forget, Aries and Gemini are sextile. So you may actually be saying things bluntly, but for a purpose, okay? Mars and Gemini aspects, especially if you have it in your natal chart, they can charm anybody with their intellect and their reasoning and their opinion. Here we have a Mars and Gemini personality itself, the King of Swords. Could be dealing with an Aquarius, a Libra, or a Gemini. Someone who uses reason and logic, someone who thinks very, very intellectually. And it's causing problems because there is an obsession with doing so. There is an obsession with their own intelligence, their own intellect, and the way that they appear in conversation. This could be you. Is it possible that you are delaying things for how they may make you look if they go wrong? Not very likely for an Aries personality, but maybe you're coming up against someone who is causing these delay tactics, and it's very frustrating. And in many ways, you could be dealing with someone who is delaying things in order to control you. But more than likely, it is because they are afraid of being without their power or without their usual perception when they keep people at a distance. The Empress here may mean that there have been some challenges for Aries who want to conceive. Very plausible with Mercury being retrograde throughout March. But what I'm seeing here is an obsession coming out with the Libra full moon. An obsessive energy. Obsessing over something that was said. Or obsessing over someone's reluctance to open up. And I think it's a partner. Two of Cups. So if you're dealing with an air sign romantically, Aries, or you could be dealing with a sun, moon, and rising air sign romantically, they're using delay tactics. And you want to go full steam ahead. And you're feeling a little bit like it's leaving you out in the cold. But what it actually is, Aries, is a delayed gratification, which is something you don't always understand. And it's something you won't want to hear, but it's true. So, what I'm getting from this spread in particular is that a romantic involvement that is taking over most of the space in your brain, something that is becoming incredibly intense, something that you're feeling an unhealthy level of attachment to, is actually something that will serve you in the long run. The difficulty is this person has better skills in letting something progress naturally. So the problem with you, Aries, as I said about Venus entering your sign, where people become more impulsive and immediate gratification is the key. This person doesn't fall for that. They very likely put you through hoops to see what your true agenda is. So if you're dealing with somebody who has air placements, very heavy air placements, very Libra, very Aquarian, very Gemini in nature, they've been wrong before, or you've been wrong before. And the devil often comes up when people have been in very unhealthy relationships, and it's left a lingering effect. If this is career-wise, you have an unhealthy level of obsession with power and your placement, where you fit in a group, where you fit in a dynamic. You're not a team player at the moment, Aries. In fact, if you are part of a team but you are not the boss, you still feel out in the cold. Even if you're part of it. You only feel satisfied if you're at the top. If you're in a work situation that does involve Libra personalities, what it is that they very clearly want to do things fairly. And they may not necessarily keep you in the loop with everything in case you take control, and that will rub you up the wrong way. Similarly, if you're dealing with a partnership who's not telling you absolutely everything, there's no need to be frustrated with this person because they're doing it for a reason. They see your connection as somewhat sacred and very important, and they want it to go long term. The Ten of Pentacles often comes up when you make something official. So when I see the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, I see an official relationship coming in around the full moon in your partnership sector, which is wonderful because it's something you've wished for. This guy couldn't look any happier. He's celebrating something. He's toasting something. And although he's solitary in nature in this card, it means that it's an internal victory for you, and it could possibly be for the other person. Because in the traditional Rider-Waite deck with the Ten of Pentacles, we have a family dynamic, okay? It does not mean that this is a solo victory per se. It just means that it is a victory. It is a success. It is something to celebrate. With the King of Swords, you are dealing with somebody who is trying to think before they speak, and you find it incredibly frustrating because you're like, why don't you just say it if you know it? You must know it instantaneously. Why do you have to think about it? People do. When you have a very strong Mars in your chart, so for example, I have Mars in Scorpio in the 8th, and I would have had that tendency to speak very quickly and just say things what I think at the moment. And I learned over time to think a bit more clearly if I'm not entirely sure of the feeling or if it matters a lot. Because if you take a second to think about it and you separate the emotion and the logic and you think, right, well, why do I feel this way? And will I feel this way in 5 minutes' time? It can help relationships dramatically, especially if you are dealing with a Libra or you have strong Libra placements yourself. So my Venus in Libra and my Mars in Scorpio have very different ideas. This is kind of like that. If you are dealing with an air sign, as I say, the more they leave you hanging or the more they keep you guessing, the more obsessed you become. And you may be going down the prospect of feeling rejected if they don't do everything that you want. But this is telling you that the reason they're not doing everything you want is because they have a better perspective than you do. They are the Empress. They see the bigger picture. And what they're doing in delaying certain things is helping you out. Okay, so the full moon in Libra in March and then the full moon in Libra in April will have two very different stories, but they are connected. They are sequels. So when you go from the March full moon in Libra, which was very exciting and very enticing, but you maybe didn't feel the movement you wanted to feel, it comes along the next time. It's very beautiful, Aries. If you could just learn to pause for a second, because the Hanged Man often comes up when it says to do nothing, okay? Sometimes you have to just let go and let the momentum go. And you're going to hate hearing that in your season. I know that. You're going to be like, no, I have to go full steam ahead. If they don't know what they want, that's fine. All this is saying that if you could delay ever so slightly with what's happening in your life, whether it's work, whether it's relationship, whether it's a friendship, something needs to not go at 1,000,000 miles an hour, even if Mercury has gone direct. Because people readjust. And if you're dealing with a water sign, there is a lot of readjustment there. Because they have been particularly confused. And some of them have been particularly confused surrounding issues of children. Now, overall, if you're single, Aries, there is more than likely somebody appearing. And the Hanging Man always says this is somebody appearing after a delay, like after a long time. Some kind of appearance comes up here. The Empress followed by the Two of Cups would suggest a very fruitful, a very abundant union. You're going to like it, okay? So do check out your moon and rising as well for additional information on what is going on with each sign. I also have the Vimeo reads up, so if you're dealing with an air sign, a water sign, a fire sign, or an earth sign, those readings will be available on Vimeo if you want to go there for additional information. And if not, I hope you have a wonderful remainder of Aries season. I think with the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, you're going to like it a lot. And bear in mind as well, the Empress, the Ten of Pentacles are great signs of abundance, great signs of finance, all that good stuff. You had Taurus energy. You have a lot of energy actually. As we go to the end of April, when the sun moves into Taurus, your finances are going to improve. You're going to want to be a big spender. We'll get more to that in the mid-monthly readings. But money is on the horizon for many Aries people. Okay? Bear in mind, the Nine of Cups, wish come true. Pretty good spread. I would enjoy it if I were you. I would enjoy April, make the most of it, and just play devil's advocate on certain things. It is possible there's a perspective from somebody that you don't see. Not everyone is as straight a shooter, Aries. So bear that in mind before you shoot yourself in the foot. So, love you guys. I shall see you on Vimeo if you're joining me, and I will also see you in the mid-monthlies. Cheerio.